coffee consumers and crime connoisseurs. Welcome to the 8th episode of Mugshot Mornings, where we explore true crime one sip at a time. Today's episode, we'll be discussing a pretty harmless conspiracy theory that might have turned to something pretty dark and uncomedic. So let me get into it before we jump into today's story, give you a brief introduction. We'll do our coffee talk. Bada bing, bada boom. The Birds Aren't Real conspiracy theory is a satirical movement claiming that all birds in the United States were replaced by government surveillance drones between 1959 and 1971. Created by Peter McIndoe in 2017, it mocks real conspiracy theories using humor and absurdity. The movement critiques gullibility and extremism, emphasizing the need for critical thinking in the face of widespread information. However, did Peter and his team take it too far, even faking his own death just to prove how gullible people can be? What is going on with his Instagram? And where did all of those posts go? Let's address a few things, some updates before we get into the video episode, whatever you are watching on. First thing, someone told me I was using my Blue Yeti wrong, so hopefully the video or the audio quality would be a little bit better today. And the second thing, I don't have nails on. Listen, I had so many break off and I went to my nail tech. Why am I tearing up? I went to my nail tech and I was like, hey, some had popped off only after like a week and we've been having a problem figuring out what works best for me. And she was like, so I'll just do like a nail repair. I just told her to file them all down. Just take them all off, file them all down. We put a keratin treatment over it. And so in the next 2 weeks, I will have a brand new set of nails. So thank God, because right now I look like Rufus from Kim Possible. So, let's get into our coffee talk. I made this today. I don't know what I did wrong. I made a brown sugar oat milk shaken espresso copycat from Starbucks. And I don't know what I did wrong, but something does not taste right. And it's not bad. It's just like it doesn't taste anywhere near a copycat. So I know that that's probably on me, but it's not that strong. That sip tasted like a chemical. Okay. We went to Kentucky this past weekend for my husband's birthday, so that's pretty cool. We saw our favorite band, two of our favorite bands, and then we just spent the day doing like bourbon tours, arcade, there was kids there, which was kind of annoying, but adult arcade games, and went to a nice fancy dinner, and then we drove home on Sunday, and I have a very slow week at work this week. So that's great, thank God. Coming back from vacation, having to go like straight into work it's the worst. Let's get into today's, let me restart that. Let's get into today's conspiracy theory. It's something very, 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 don't worry about it. It's not going to be scary. It's nothing like that. It's actually pretty funny. This is one of my favorite. I have merch. I didn't even talk about this. I'm wearing their merch. It's The Birds Work for the Bourgeoisie. This is not on their website anymore, but I had to represent. Okay, you ever heard of the term, if it flies, it spies, or the birds work for the bourgeoisie? Or have you ever seen a baby pigeon? These are all linked to this conspiracy theory. The Birds Aren't Real is a national campaign that took over social media. It is basically a completely made up parody conspiracy that most of the birds in North America were killed and replaced with drones or other forms of surveillance by the government. The theory starts off by explaining that the CIA assassinated JFK after he refused to kill and replace the billions of birds with drones. The CIA had asked for JFK to use poisonous gas in the air to kill all of the birds and then replace them with drones to spy on the citizens of America. Apparently, they were really annoyed that birds had been pooping on their windows. He explains that the birds that people see on the power lines are actually charging whenever they sit there. On the Birds Aren't Real TikTok account, Peter gets on and explains that the reason why they are charging on the power lines is because of the low batteries inside of them, because they are drones.
Okay, answer me this. Why is it that whenever a human touches a power line, we get shocked to death, but millions of birds sit on power lines every day perfectly fine? The answer may be more simple than you think. Every bird you see is actually a government surveillance drone in disguise. And what do drones have? Batteries that need to be charged. Wow, what a coincidence that there are wires full of electricity hung up in every American city. Put the pieces together, guys. Birds charge on power lines. They're watching you and I every day. Stay woke.
Additionally, the bird poop that everyone has on their cars is actually tracking devices. So it's not actually poop, but they say that you need to go wash it off immediately anyways. Now, Peter McIndoe is behind this conspiracy. He dropped out of the University of Arkansas and came up with the idea in 2017, and now he travels across the country promoting this campaign. He even has merch. Like I said, I'm wearing it right now. And this is actually probably one of my favorite conspiracy theories because it's harmless and it's funny. And knowing the behind information of how this started is just, it's really funny and kind of absurd, but it's hilarious. So Peter and a few of his friends were at a protest in Memphis, Tennessee, and started improvising by shouting random, absurd things, and it just kind of stuck for them to go ahead and roll with it. He made a sign to stand with the protesters that said, "Birds aren't real," and when people would ask him what his sign even meant, he improvised. A video of him went viral of him holding the sign, and it eventually grew to what it is today. Peter explained he saw the words "birds aren't real" in graffiti and was being tagged in videos of high school students chanting in their cafeteria that birds were not real.
There is a birdemic happening!
Peter's friend Allie innocently posted a video of that day online, and then everything changed.
Birds are not real!
So I'm getting pictures sent to me of birds aren't real graffiti and birds aren't real on chalkboards and seeing, chants in cafeterias and, stadiums like birds aren't real at high schools.
In 2021, he had a bunch of other protesters stand outside of Twitter's headquarters demanding that the bird logo needed to be changed, which it may have actually worked because now Twitter is called X and it no longer has the bird logo. But Elon Musk even joined in on the fun, tweeting, "I knew birds weren't real." Peter was unemployed and solely making money off of the merch sales and social media following of this movement. He even conducted an interview with a previous CIA informant who claimed to work on the bird to drone project. The man, who was the CIA agent, stated that one morning he was ordered to a military base for something called Operation Water the Country, which ultimately was poisonous gas dropped from airplanes to kill all of the birds. Peter mentioned that there were many teenagers who were flooding his DMs asking permission to launch new chapters of Birds Aren't Real in their home cities and states, and they wanted to hand out flyers at farmers markets. People met up at Washington Square Park just to boo at the pigeons flying around. Another demonstration was when Peter showed up at the Gateway Arch to light a St. Louis Cardinals flag on fire as a symbolic gesture while the crowd around him cheered. In a later interview in 2021, he explained that the world that we live in is full of misinformation, so they had to make up something unrealistic and preposterous so that people don't believe that it's real. It is truly just a really fun, stupid theory that isn't meant to be harmful. Peter does not believe in this theory even though he did make it up. He stated that it is satirical and he was just playing a character. He stated during a TED Talk that he grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas, surrounded by conspiracy theorists, which ultimately helped him with the foundation and arguments for a conspiracy theory that he made up. He stated that he was homeschooled and closed off from mainstream culture and did not have access to what is considered normal media. He was surrounded by hyper-conservative Christian ideals, and at the age of 10, he questioned the logic behind the Bible stories that was being told to him growing up. People started to treat him as if he had been, quote, possessed by a demon. He wanted this theory to be more about laughter rather than a conspiracy theory that can make people very scared or even spiral, be very anxious, anything like that. He overall wanted this to be a learning lesson about the spread of misinformation. Peter also stated that he had an encounter with a man in Branson, Missouri, where this man yelled, quote, "You're a schizophrenic. You need help." Peter stated, quote, This guy's anger and his approach really crystallized the dire state of the cross-party relations in a fractured America. If we are to a point where you're not even having empathy for someone that you think is schizophrenic, then we're at a really bad point. The conspiracy suggests that there was a genocide of nearly 12 billion birds, and there were no conservation efforts to save them. Since then, all of the birds have been replaced by these drones. Birds used to be real, but since then, birds have been replaced as a governmental surveillance type of drone. The Birds Aren't Real website even shows alleged proof that there were CIA leaked documents and previous government leaders posing with robot bird prototypes. The website also shows alleged evidence of a CIA program to kill and replace the birds, specifically targeting the CIA director, Alan Dulles. Alan Dulles referred to birds as flying slugs and scum of the skies. He apparently hated birds with a passion. Well, in 1959, Operation Water the Country, or later renamed Operation Very Large Bird. Now, this is what was referenced in an interview that Peter did with the alleged CIA informant. And it is very likely that Peter hired someone to say this, but we'll go along with the fun just for the sake of the video. Now, Allen purchased 120 B-52 bombers from the Boeing Airplane Company that held 450-gallon water tanks. But these water tanks were filled with a specifically formulated bird poison that gave birds a virus once it entered their bloodstream and could be passed on to other birds. It would take 6 years for 15% of the bird population to be wiped out, only to be replaced by the bird prototypes, or drones. They were called robot birds then, but obviously we do know them as drones. Now, apparently the CIA kept this from JFK because he did not like the operation and refused for it to happen. JFK tapped into Alvin B. Cleaver's phone because he believed he was stealing his ham sandwich from the White House kitchen and overheard Cleaver telling the CIA director Allen that he indeed stole the sandwiches. He was pulling a prank on the president. Now, remember, this is all alleged. This is just what I found on their website. However, Allen said, "That's funny, but how many birds have we killed so far?" Cleaver responded that 220 million birds have been killed, but had already been replaced by the robot birds. Kennedy was listening and overheard these men and pulled them both into his office to confront them. Although impressed, he demanded the operation be shut down. Only 1 month later, JFK was assassinated in Texas. Thus, the CIA killed JFK, which is another huge conspiracy theory. Now, apparently, the CIA controls the outcomes of elections now, too. They only elect presidents who are anti-bird. Now, this obviously is all a joke that was made up to help the conspiracy theory, having like a background as to what happened. This is just what is stated on the website of the leader, Peter. And all of this is fabricated and just for fun. Peter explained he never knew that it would grow to this extent and just made a sign completely irrelevant to the protest, and that is what just started all of this. Cameron Kasky helps with the Birds Aren't Real movement as well, but was actually involved in a conspiracy theory himself. In 2018, Cameron survived the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting, but many people believed he was a crisis actor. He was a co-founder of the March of Our Lives movement after the shooting. People believed the shooting really didn't happen and it was a false flag planned event. A false flag is a term used by conspiracy theorists to suggest that horrible, harmful events that took place are disguised by someone else and not the person who is responsible for the action. In particular, the government is behind it. For an example, remember, this is an example, this is not real, okay? The several individuals who were school shooters were actually a decoy, and the people responsible for the shootings were either police officers, the CIA, or something else. Now, do I believe in this theory? No. But do I believe that the government does a bunch of sketchy shit sometimes? Yes. Now, when I talk about how much I love this theory, I really got into this theory about 2 years ago, and I posted a TikTok from, I want to say 2 years ago. I came across this pigeon who turned its head really, really scarily to me, and I hated it. And yeah, I'll put in the TikTok here. It's actually really funny. I don't have a video of the pigeon. It's literally just myself telling the story. So Okay, so we all know how birds are government spies, right? So, like, especially pigeons, So, I just saw, like, the fattest freaking pigeon I've ever seen in my entire life going into my parking garage where I work. And I'm not kidding when I say to myself in my car, I literally went, wow, that pigeon's really fat. This pigeon literally was, like, sitting, like, away from me, and it just went like a robot. Oh my god, I literally just, like, the government knows now. Like, the government knows that I've seen this fat pigeon and it's on to me. Like, I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid that the government's gonna come for me because that pigeon literally said, ah! That is the scariest freaking thing. I was, like, in a horror movie for a second. Now, back to the birds aren't real movement. It is mainly Gen Z that took it and ran with it, and rallies are even held still to this day about the birds aren't real movement. Now, I also have a sticker. It's on my computer. I don't want to, like, mess up the cords and stuff, so I'm not going to raise it. But I also have this shirt, and I have another one on the way that I was going to wear today, but it wasn't here in time, and I got to get this video out, so. Now, I know that this is funny, lighthearted conspiracy, but here are some footage of actual birds doing really non-bird-like things. This first video is a pigeon waving at Vladimir Putin. There are also multiple videos of birds just being frozen in mid-air, not moving, not flapping their wings, nothing. Like the drone's wires are shortening out or something.
Oops. That's freaking weird, man.
Isn't it?
Yeah, like there's someone else taking a picture.
Right? It's just so weird because it should be moving.
Yeah, I don't see any, like... I don't see anything, like...
There's also a video of birds falling from the sky in Mexico. Many fly off, but there are dozens that die on impact.
Calm when suddenly this happens. A flock of black birds swirl to the ground. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. Hundreds of the birds appear like a plume of black smoke. A moment later, many of them fly off, but lots are killed on impact. The video was caught on a surveillance camera in Mexico. So what's going on here? There is speculation the birds...
A video from California shows around 1,500 birds flying directly into a chimney and invading a house.
Places where the birds made entry into the home. They flew in by the hundreds and left a wave of chaos and destruction. Look there, they're lining the windowsill with wings furiously flapping. They also attach themselves to the ceiling.
So all of this is to say that birds aren't real, especially pigeons. Ending that theory, nothing more about that. As stated in the introduction, Peter has taken this conspiracy theory of spreading misinformation, right? Many people on his Instagram believe that he has taken this a little too far. Now, what I am about to read, I did the research on. For this specifically, I knew that this was going to be within the first 10 episodes. I'm not sure when I did it, but it was early June, and now all of this is wiped. So it's going to look like I made this up. People have seen this. So if y'all are someone who saw this and y'all can back me up, because I promise I did not make up any of this. This is all erased from the Instagram. From the guy, separate from Peter. I don't know what happened. So I'm going to read it because this is research that I did in early June, I think. And all of this now is gone. It's missing. I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to read it, but you won't be able to find it. There's only one post that is in here that is still there. So it all began with a weird Instagram post that began on May 9th, 2024. So, this year, only 2 months ago. The post was a screenshot of a tweet from the official Birds Aren't Real page that said, "Hey all, we were just joking around. Birds are real, and their existence is one of the many miracles of our universe. The next day on May 10th, a screenshot of what appears to be written on a notes app states, I made a huge mistake. Hi all, I can't keep doing this. Birds are real and they are beautiful. They are the closest things we have to angels on this earth. And I turned everybody against them for what? A joke? It makes me sick. I ask you all today to take a moment and appreciate the beauty of spring. Listen to the birds sing their song. Let it fill your heart with the music of the universe. Now, on May 16th, someone on the Instagram official page named Dan Hinschel posted a video explaining how Peter was gone.
Hey everybody, my name's Dan. I'm a friend of Peter's. Or I was a friend of Peter's, I guess. There's no easy way to say this, but Peter is gone. I think that, well, I don't really know what happened. I don't want to speculate, but I think he was just in a very dark place for a very long time. And something happened within the past couple of weeks that really sort of pushed him over the edge. Yeah, so that's it, I guess. I don't know. I don't really, So, okay, bye.
He stated in the video that he doesn't know what happened, but Peter was in a dark place and something pushed him over the edge. The next post is a rest in peace poster posted on May 25th, and the following post was on June 2nd with a picture of Peter's face on a guardrail overlooking a mountain, promoting a new book. It has paper taped to the rail and says, buy his book, with a QR code along with flowers and a copy of the book. The next post was on June 10th when Dan made a new video showing where Peter allegedly went off a cliff in his car, stating that he did not know if he was in an accident or if this was purposeful. On June 21st, the page posted, Peter McIndoe is alive. And on the same day, later on, they posted, Peter McIndoe is not alive, and apologized for the confusion. I have no new updates to his Instagram and their TikTok page except for the fact that all of this is missing. So, now this all did start before June 14th, and I found that Peter did a Q&A at the International Spy Museum that day in Washington, D.C., so of course, this is a bit, but a lot of people do not find this funny. They did something similar over a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, where Peter allegedly had the bird flu and posted pictures in the hospital. They really commit to the bit once they start it. But misspreading information is what they built their theory on, but now it's getting a little out of hand by faking a death. The comments are filled with people who were not finding this funny, and faking a death, even though the page is completely filled with satire, is just really not okay. Personally, I understand that their theory surrounds its ideals and beliefs off of the satire of conspiracy theorists and misspreading information, but I do think that faking a death is a bit too far. I mean, and I understand there's a lot of theories surrounding that, like, Michael Jackson's still alive, Tupac is still alive, Elvis Presley's still alive. I almost said Keith Urban. Nope, that's not. What is that guy's name from Nirvana? Kurt Cobain. What the hell? My mind literally was only telling me Keith Urban. Okay, I'm sorry. I know that we were not talking about something funny, but there are conspiracy theories surrounding people who are still alive. Hold on, let me back up. Michael Jackson did not make the conspiracy theory that he is still alive. Peter and his team are making up a theory that he died. And I don't know, it can get a little touchy to talk about, and I understand people being upset, and I also see the other side of it. It's like, this is like the whole thing. They do this for a reason. It's just for fun, like, it's funny, it's a joke, like dark humor, get over it. I can see both sides, but I also don't think that faking a death is okay, like, ever, because that's kind of insane. You know that TikTok comment that's going around now that's like, hey, so this is insane. That's how I feel about that. But if I can find any screenshots about the Instagram page, I'm definitely going to try and find them and add them here, because I don't know what's going on. Because I totally thought that I was going to be able to come back, just take the screenshots and add it when I edit it. Now they're all missing. So it looks like I'm just a big fat liar or what. I promise I didn't make that up. I don't know how I could have made that up. The guy named Dan who posted about Peter, they kind of look alike, so they were trying to pose as him, and somebody was like, I don't even understand, like, if this is Dan or Peter who's alive anymore, like, I don't know what's going on. So a lot of people unfollowed them as well because of them being like, this isn't funny anymore. Like, y'all are dragging this out way too long, saying that he's alive, saying he's dead. What do we think of the non-spooky conspiracy theories? Do we like them? Did y'all like this video? Was it kind of a break of talking about what we have been talking about? Because we got one coming up that's probably the worst thing I've ever talked about. So needed a little break. Next week, I do have a treat for everyone. We will have our first guest on the show. I'm excited. So I hope that you guys are prepared for that and excited for that. And yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I have hit over 1,000 subscribers. I gained, just since starting this podcast, I want to say about 60 new subscribers. Thank you. What the hell? Like, thank you so much. That's so fun. Shout out to my Brussels people over there in Germany. Is it Germany? Hold on. Brussels, Belgium. I'm sorry, I lied. Brussels, Belgium, and then, oh, I have 4 people in Germany, but it doesn't say anything. Oh, Stuttgart, Germany. Hello to the people in Stuttgart, Germany. Colville, United Kingdom. Hey. Hi guys. Thank you for tuning in and listening. From someone over here in like annoying ass America. That's so fun. I'm so excited that y'all guys tune in and download every single week. That's so cool. Now, we will be wrapping up, so thank you guys for listening as always. I really appreciate it. If you are listening on any of the podcast formats, I want to please ask you to rate this podcast and also write a review if you would like as well to boost it to get to other people. And if you are on YouTube watching the video and audio clip of the episode, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you like, subscribe, and tell your friends. And yeah, again, thank you. I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.